Welcome to another episode of the Mega Drew Show. I've got more arcade action for you today as we take a look at the games released for Sega's System 18 hardware. Sega released their System 18 hardware in 1989. The board saw improvements over the System 16, including superior audio and graphical capabilities. There was only a short run of games released during its time, and the last game released for the hardware was in 1992. So let's take a look at these games, beginning with 1989's Block Seed. Block Seed, as you can probably tell from this footage, is a Tetris clone, with a few added extras which just about prevent it from being a straight copy. As someone who loves a decent block puzzle game, I did get a lot of enjoyment out of this, and Sega did a great job with both the gameplay and presentation. The added power-ups were a nice addition, especially the appearance from Sega's Bluebird Flicky. Fans of Tetris or block puzzle games should definitely check this one out. (1989) also saw the release of Shadow Dancer, a sequel to Sega's all-time classic Shinobi. You play as an unnamed ninja this time, who is joined by his dog as they set out on a mission to disarm the bombs that have been planted by terrorists. The game plays in a similar way to its predecessor, with the major difference being the ability to call on your dog for assistance. If an opponent is in an awkward position, such as ducking behind a crate, you can instruct the dog to attack them, allowing you to advance safely. There were plenty of impressive conversions of Shadow Dancer to home computers, and a very impressive reworking of the original game for the Sega Mega Drive. Laser Ghost was a 3-player light gun shooter, which sees you take on the role of a ghost hunter. A young girl has been kidnapped, and it's up to you to take down all manner of ghosts and monsters as you attempt to rescue her and save the city. There were plenty of decent arcade light gun games already on the market when this was released, and although it isn't necessarily groundbreaking, Laser Ghost is still worth a play if you ever see a cabinet. There was a home port for the Master System, but this differed greatly from the arcade game. In my opinion, Sega's System 18 hardware peaked with 1990's Alien Storm. This was a side-scrolling beat-em-up / run-and-gun which featured some superb graphics combined with awesome character and level design. There are 3 different characters to choose from, each having their own individual weapon, moveset and special attack. I particularly like Scooter's special, where his robot body explodes, leaving just his head as a replacement body rushes back in. The game did have its fair share of home ports, and the Mega Drive version, which was an adaptation of the arcade original, was particularly impressive. Alien Storm is a fantastic arcade game, and one of my favourites from Sega's impressive coin-op library. Moonwalker was an arcade game I spent a lot of time playing, as it was at a holiday resort we visited when I was young. Released in 1990, the game is a 3-player isometric beat-em-up, with each player taking control of an identical version of Michael Jackson, just in a different colour variation of his Smooth Criminal outfit. Levels are based on locations found in the Moonwalker film, and players are tasked with rescuing kidnapped children in each stage. You can also transform into a robot, thanks to the Bubbles the Monkey power-up. This was another System 18 game that had a very different home conversion on the Sega Mega Drive, with the home version being a platform game. The Moonwalker arcade game has some great graphics, plenty of style, and some great renditions of Michael Jackson classics. Clutch Hitter was a well-presented baseball simulation which was released in 1991, with a home port being released for the Sega Game Gear. Sega had a good reputation when it came to scrolling beat-em-ups, so in 1991 you'd expect them to deliver a decent game in the genre. Unfortunately, DD Crew is not a good game. Up to 4 players set out to take down a terrorist group that have planted a bomb in a park, and after a few cutscenes and an explosion, you begin your mission. This scrolling beat-em-up obviously takes inspiration from the likes of Final Fight and Double Dragon, but at a time when Sega were producing games like Streets of Rage for the home console, this was hugely disappointing, especially for an arcade release. The movesets are bland and the action at times feels very repetitive. The characters are well detailed, but everything just feels very dull. My expectations were high for this one, but with so many other options out there, I recommend you look for your slice of beat-em-up action elsewhere. In 1992, Sega adapted Where's Wally or Where's Waldo into an arcade puzzle game. Players utilise a trackball controller to find Wally in different locations before the timer runs out. The first thing that comes to mind when playing Desert Breaker is its similarity to Capcom's Mercs. The game appears to copy a lot of elements, but goes with a sci-fi theme instead of Merc's military setting. Being a big fan of Mercs, I really enjoyed Desert Breaker. It's a decent overhead run and gun game with all the heavy weaponry you'd expect from a game in this genre. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Remember to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below and subscribe to the channel for future content.